Welcome to the Corporate Treasury 101 podcast. Today is the last episode of our series with Craig Chapman. He is a senior manager at Actualize Consulting, an expert in treasury systems, transformation, and netting. We talked about the in and outs of netting, and it is now time for a little bit of practice. In this episode, Craig walks us through a use case of a netting implementation he did for a client. The client is anonymized, of course, but it is truly fascinating. And actually, we won't spoil anything in this introduction. Come and discover what netting is when put into action at a multi-billion dollars company. If you like the episode, please rate us on your favorite podcast app. It helps us a lot, and the podcast as well. Plus, it allows us to invite amazing guests such as Craig Chapman. And the bonus is, it makes Wissam and I very happy. In other news, we published an ebook. If you were dreaming of finding a book explaining the ABCs of corporate treasury, well, do not search anymore. We got you covered. Head to the link in the description to download it, and the best part, it is completely free. With all that being said, let's get on with the show. That's the perfect transition, Craig. What is actually the treasury consulting offer that you have at Actualize Consulting and that maybe you do personally?
Yeah. So in terms of multilateral netting, we can assist clients with the tasks across the full product lifecycle. So from discovery, we'll work with the tax and legal for specific market data gathering. So help them make that decision that they'll ultimately be the ones making the decision, but we can help liaise with the local markets to get that information. We also do the planning, so defining requirements, objectives, and defining a rollout plan for the whole implementation. And then we'll do the design. So we're going to design the approach for implementation, identify any limitations, such as countries that can't participate. And then, of course, we do the implementation of the solution in the technology of choice. So the TMS or the ERP that you've chosen to implement netting. And then for go live, we'll provide support as needed. So it's really a full shop.
Yeah, sounds like an end-to-end offer. Is there any chance that you walk us through a netting implementation or optimization project that you did for a client?
Yeah, so we can talk about this company will be profiling as a provider of cleaning and hygiene products in
Mhm.
healthcare, food and beverage, food service, retail, facility management. And with COVID, they had, a pretty good growth spurt. So they had a lot of different invoices to take care of. Their revenue is just under 3 billion, but they have 85,000 customers and they operate in 80 different countries. So the challenge they had was a very high volume of invoices, close to 100,000 invoices monthly. They were operating in 17 different currencies, which makes the cross-border invoices a little, more challenging. They ultimately decided to put 50 different participants into the program out of the 80 countries that they operate in. And at the same time we're doing this, we're replacing a legacy netting system. Euro netting was going away. So we had to get this fully functional from start to finish in under 60 days. So there was an aggressive timeline. Um, we had, some information to work from, but it was still, the 60 days is a very aggressive timeline to put this in top to bottom. So the solution we chose was Kyriba SaaS TMS. That was the technology piece that we used. We decided to go payables based, just based on some conversations we had before, why that's the better choice. And then we set up over 50 entities that would receive statements every month. We did a full integration with SAP. So SAP was our source for uploading invoices. They had a couple different instances, so we had to have different formats based on where the entity was located and what SAP instance they were under. And then the unique piece with this one is the settlement was all intercompany accounts where possible. So they already had the in-house bank structure put in place. So it was a natural fit to try and settle everything intercompany wise where possible, about the countries I talked about before. And then, so the benefits and results that we realized were, only 3 participants had to settle physically.
Okay.
Everything else remained intercompany via the Kriva in-house bank structure. So this allowed us to reduce separate transactions into one FX trade per currency.
Mm-hmm.
We reduced FX currency fluctuations on the intercompany balances. We did the process, the whole process assists the accounting and the reconciliation and tax for transfer pricing policies, which we didn't talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, massive reduction in costs, simplification of the settlement process because it was just pushing in internally, and it was an easier and safer control of payments and FX. And then, from the client's perspective, some of the lessons learned were to coordinate with the local accounting, tax, and legal terms up front early,
Mm-hmm.
establish a clear project role and responsibilities, set a clear roadmap, project plan, and stick to deadlines. When we're talking 60 days, that's a must.
Mm-hmm.
And then we implemented a standard process across all entities. We didn't want anyone doing their own thing, so everyone followed the exact same process. And then we integrated with the ERP, which eliminates or limits the manual input that's required. And they felt that contracting a professional service firm with prior experience implementing netting was one of their best decisions. And so it was a great project, up and running, 60 days. I
That's
don't think that would happen with a normal client that did not have a existing netting process in place.
Yeah.
Because of all the upfront work that would have to be done with legal and tax.
Makes sense.
Agreement.
So that's a lot of, first of all, that's impressive, a lot of qualitative benefits, but my consulting senses are tickling a bit from a number of transactions standpoint. So you mentioned 90,000, I think, or close to 100,000 transactions, invoices per month. And you end up with only 3 entities making transactions. So that means what, you went from 90,000 transactions a month to 3?
Correct. Yeah. Because it all funnels through the IHB.
Okay, no, that's impressive. Any other aspects of Actualize Consulting and or netting that you would like to highlight or to add that we may have forgot to mention?
No, I think the 2 major takeaways from this would be, if you're going to go down this road, is to involve your tax and legal. They're pivotal to a successful program. And then just select the right consulting partner to help you design and implement your program.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Craig, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think it was really valuable to hear from someone that's done netting himself about netting as it is. So that was super valuable. Thank you for coming. If people want to find out more about you or Actualize Consulting, where can they go?
Yeah, so the best place to see about all the different offerings that Actualize has would be to go to their website, and it's actualizeconsulting.com.
Awesome.
And
so that you guys do treasury consulting overall, right? So netting processes, anything else? All the other stuff, right, that you mentioned at the start.
Yeah, at the start. So it's implementations, workstation implementations, current state evaluations. So one of the newest things that we've been doing is something called a health check, where we go into a client that already has an existing system in place, and we're going to do a current state review. We're going to do any technology gap analysis. We're going to develop a roadmap for them to increase the usage of their system, or to consider moving on to a different vendor. So that's I've been active with that. I'm currently doing 3 projects right now, and then we also do risk management and treasury operations. So all the things you
Very
would think: payments, cash management, cash flow, in-house bank, debt and investment tracking, everything
Awesome.
we would need.
That's
Very
perfect.
cool.
And what I propose, Craig, is that we put in the show note the links to the Actualize Consulting website, obviously, but also your LinkedIn profile in that sense for you, so people can reach out and
Yeah,
find you.
yeah, they can definitely reach out if they want to talk netting or in-house bank or anything else. Actualize
Mhm.
any services they're interested in.
Well, now that you propose, we may have an episode on in-house bank, as Sam mentioned earlier. So don't tempt us.
Nice to
But
get you back
look,
in.
Phase two.
awesome, Craig. Thank you very much. It was super insightful. Thank you very much. Having an expert on dating is definitely making a difference. So thank you very much.
Okay, thanks
Thank
for
you,
having me.
Craig.
Anytime.
Thank you.